Greetings and welcome back to Christian News and Views. This is episode 97. And today we are looking at Wednesday's news. And so today we're looking particularly at the Ukrainian ceasefire, the agreement between Ukraine and the United States. And so here's the news about that. It has been reported that the United Kingdom, along with France and Germany, were involved in an agreement between the United States and Ukraine related to a ceasefire. This ceasefire saw the United States restore intelligence efforts, both not only for the defense, which they apparently never took away anyhow, but also that intelligence needed to strike deep into Russia, and that's a good thing. Uh, the In addition, although it would leave all forces in place, thus giving Russia an advantage right away, a ceasefire also allows Ukraine to rearm, rebuild, and refresh. So let's take a look at this and see what we can gather from it. So here's my opinion. The inclusion of the United Kingdom, France, and Germany provides a sense of strength that was absent from before. As I had said, I believe it was yesterday's episode, that such an involvement was essential. And they were, and apparently still are, involved. This is a welcome news if it's true, and I have no reason to believe it's not true, because Europe has a huge stake in this thing, bigger than the United States. Now, Trump may argue that point, but the United States only gives money, and it's not even really money. It's we get value, the value of the weapons that we send and the intelligence that we provide and things of this nature. It's not necessarily cold hard cash. But we don't have any troops on the ground. The only troops that are there are your traditional troops guarding a embassy. So we don't have any troops on the ground, and we don't even have any civilians on the ground in a sense of like miners and stuff like that. By the way, one prognosticator had said that the presence of miners and stuff would be just as great of value as having troops on the ground. Well, that's not exactly true. We had that situation back in 2014. There was a United States presence there in the way of civilians, financial interests, and stuff of this nature, and Russia invaded anyhow. So that's questionable as to the accuracy of that statement. They may dismiss that. But dismissing history is a dangerous thing to do, and so just have to sit and wait here. So how is President Trump going to ensure peace after he's no longer president? That has not been indulged in. That has not been indicated in any way. No ideas that have appeared in the news, so far as I can tell. Nor has the concessions that Ukraine is going to be required to make. They have not been identified. Now, while that's true, there's been plenty of rumor, and the rumor is land for peace. It never works. The biggest, in modern times, the biggest equivalent or example of this is Israel. They were encouraged to give up some land for peace, and every time that they have done that, and they've done it, I believe they've done it more than once, it has backfired. It holds peace for a little while, and then all of a sudden, war breaks out again. Usually, with the Hamas or some other Arab organization causing breaking the agreement or the peace, however you want to say it. And so, Land for Peace has a sound to it that sounds like it's workable, but it has a very poor record. And I would like to remind our leaders that the United States didn't get to its freedom by surrendering land. They fought for every inch, and they had lost a lot of battles. But in the end, they won. Now, they had help from France. And in fact, the biggest victories they had took place because French troops, ships rather, blockaded a port, and the British troops were left stranded, and they had no choice but to surrender, and that played a big role in the victory. No land was swapped. No peace, no negotiation. There were negotiations going on over in France. France was, and so it would be with the English, and they did sign an agreement and so on and so forth. But they didn't surrender anything. They didn't surrender the ground. They didn't, even though they lost a lot of people. And they lost leaders. They lost, and the leaders themselves lost their families, their homes, all sorts of things they lost. But they stayed the course and won. What would have happened if France had not stuck with us? And so I think we learn from history. And there was a case of where we had outside influence and outside help, and that outside help stuck with us, and eventually it helped us win. Well, now we are in the position of helping the Ukraine. And again, I say, look at history. If we back off and don't help the Ukraine, don't stick with them, in the end, I don't know if they can do it or not. They need the United States. Whether they can survive without the United States, that's a possibility because Europe has gotten stronger, more committed to the defense of the Ukraine, and so they might be able to still pull it off. It would cause some disruptions, and it would also cause perhaps more loss of life, and it may go on for even longer, maybe weeks, months, even years longer. But sometimes you have to dig in. Sometimes you have to negotiate. But Ukraine has some assets that it can, for instance, it has Russian land, and Russia wants it back. Both countries want Crimea, and so that's a bargaining area. I know Ukraine doesn't. That might be land that they could give up because they really don't have it right now. And so there are areas there where they can negotiate and trade off. On the other hand, there's also the fact is there's evidence that Putin is on shaky ground back home. Now, the average person in the streets may not be aware of it, but there's been a lot of movement around, and a lot of things going on in the government that suggest that Putin's getting a little desperate. The fact that he went out and got foreign troops to come in to replace his troops shows that his military, has failed and has become weaker. And so they need outside support. The reports I've been saying is that they have sustainable support. That's not in agreement with what facts I've seen. When you have troops coming from North Korea or even China, the Chinese have actually in some ways, been telling Putin what to do, how to do it, how to win, and so on. That's the kind of information I've been seeing out there. And so we need to be a little bit patient. Don't rush to a decision. And I know President Trump wants peace. We all want peace. But again, as a Christian, have to go back to what the Bible talks about. And one of the things the Bible talks about in the book of Revelation is that people are going to be calling out for peace, peace. They want peace. Well, if they rush into a peace agreement without thinking it through, it's going to eventually rise up and bite them. So they need to be very careful how they go forward, make sure that they have the securities in place. Don't put too much confidence in Putin. It wasn't the Ukraine that attacked Russia. Russia attacked the Ukraine. And so that's an indisputable fact. And that is something that we need, as Christians, we need to look at this differently than the politicians do. What does the Bible say? And also remember this. When the forces of evil from Russia or any other place heads down towards Israel, there's going to be a negotiation going on. And all it is going to do is they're going to be saying, don't do this, don't do this. If you do that, we're going to do maybe economic sanctions. The Bible doesn't really get into that, what they're threatening to do. It just says that basically their negotiations are ineffective. And the forces come down and invade Israel. So that is something that we need to keep on track. We don't want to set that up. Not intentionally. It's going to happen, but it doesn't have to happen right away. If we go about this in the wrong way, it will give Russia the breather they need to rearm, reconstitute their army, their armed forces, and to turn their eyes south. Now, the interesting thing about I think I referred to this in a previous episode, in the Bible, the troops coming down from the north into Israel, they don't come with a lot of tanks and artillery and aircraft and so forth. It talks about horses and other modes of moving equipment that we no longer use. But this war has not only killed a lot of people, Russia has lost a ton of equipment, which cannot be replaced as easily as the humans can. They can go out and get more people and put them in there. Rebuilding the equipment takes time. And so that is something that we might want to remember. Why give them a breather? Why give them the opportunity to rearm? And if the other thing, and so we got to keep those leaders, those Christian leaders that are advising Trump, my prayer is that they would at least point out to him the biblical aspects of this and don't just dismiss it. Take it seriously, because that's something that it's going to happen. But decisions here that they make now could determine whether it's further down the road or if it's right away. So that's something they need to be cautious about. So we're going to just have to watch on that. The record of Putin's record, it's just not something you can put a whole lot of confidence. I know Trump dismisses them, but he has to keep them in mind. He can dismiss them all he wants, but he has to keep them in mind. I also agree with the idea that Russia is now in the spotlight. Today they're being told the details of this agreement and are being encouraged to sign on. But the question is, will they? So the question now for you is, do you enjoy this episode? Do you enjoy Christian news and views? Do you enjoy hearing it from a Christian point of view? Getting some Christian perspective, biblical perspective, perhaps? Do you enjoy that? If so, please, well, if you haven't subscribed, why not right down below here, subscribe. You get some things for doing that. You get now excuse that, my phone was ringing there. You get Christian news and views, which you're watching right now. You also get becoming a published author is fun, where I give free advice to you to help you become a published author. But you also encourage me in the process. So I encourage you to subscribe, and I will do all in my power to create episodes that will inform, encourage, and inspire you. So that's going to be it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I look forward to talking to you again in tomorrow's. By the way, tomorrow is Thursday, and we'll have Bible talk. You have a great day.